Stress. A small word, yet a heavy feeling. No matter where you live, how old you are, or what you do, stress quietly makes its way into your life. Deadlines at work, exams at school, bills to pay, expectations from family and friends. We all know the pressure, and sometimes it feels as if we're carrying the entire world on our shoulders. But here's the real question. Is stress truly about the problems we face, or is it about how we carry them? This is the story of Professor Christopher, a wise teacher who showed his students a simple way to overcome stress, not by running away from it, but by changing how we hold it. Professor Christopher lived in a lively town, surrounded by busy streets, marketplaces, and schools filled with laughter and noise. He was not only known for his deep knowledge of history and literature, but also for his ability to explain life in the simplest way. His students admired him because he didn't just teach lessons for exams, he taught lessons for living. One bright afternoon, the classroom buzzed with energy. Students shuffled their notebooks, whispered to friends, and waited curiously. Professor Christopher walked in carrying something unusual, not a book, not a pen, but a glass of water. He lifted it high and asked with a calm smile, "My dear students, can anyone tell me how much this glass weighs?" The students laughed. Some shouted, 200 grams. Others guessed, maybe 300 grams. A few even said, "Half a kilo, sir." The professor chuckled softly. Good guesses, but the truth is, I don't really know, and that's not the point of today's lesson. He continued, "If I hold this glass of water for just a minute, nothing happens. If I hold it for an hour, my arm will begin to ache. But if I hold it all day, my hand will go numb. My muscles will ache badly, and I might even need help." The class grew quiet, curious to know where this was going. Professor Christopher looked around and asked, "Now tell me, has the weight of the glass changed?" The students replied together, "No, sir." He smiled. "Exactly. The weight is the same, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels." Placing the glass gently on the desk, he said, "My children, stress works the same way. Your worries, your fears, your responsibilities, they are like this water. If you think about them for a little while, nothing happens. If you dwell on them for hours, you begin to hurt. And if you carry them with you all day and all night, they will paralyze you." The classroom fell silent. Some students looked down, lost in their own thoughts. Others nodded slowly, realizing how much weight they carried in their hearts every day. Professor Christopher's voice grew softer but firm. The problems in life do not always change, just like the weight of this glass does not change. But how long you hold on to them, that is what creates your stress. He paused, then smiled warmly. "So, what's the solution?" One boy raised his hand nervously and said, "Put the glass down, sir." Professor Christopher's eyes sparkled. "Exactly. Put it down. Rest your hand, and when you're ready, you can pick it up again. The same is true for your worries. If you put them down, even for a short while, your mind can rest, your heart can breathe, and your spirit can grow stronger." The students listened closely as he gave them two simple practices. First, the 1-minute pause. Whenever stress feels too heavy, stop whatever you're doing. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me right now or only hurting me? If it is not helping, let it go. Just for now. This pause will reset your mind. Second, the evening reset. Every night before you sleep, write down your worries on a piece of paper. Everything. Exams, arguments, fears, plans. Then fold the paper, place it aside and tell yourself, I have set these burdens here. I don't need to carry them into my sleep. When you wake in the morning, you will feel lighter and clearer. The students quickly wrote these steps down. Some smiled, relieved to finally have something practical to try. Weeks passed. One student, Aisha, who always felt crushed by exam stress, began practicing the 1-minute pause. She found herself calmer, sharper, and more focused. Another student, Daniel, who often carried arguments with his parents into bed, began writing his worries down each night. To his surprise, he started sleeping better. The stress did not vanish, but it no longer consumed him. At the end of the semester, Professor Christopher stood before his students once again. "My dear children," he said gently, "life will always bring you challenges. Some days will feel light, some days unbearably heavy. But always remember, stress is not about the size of your problem. Stress is about how long you choose to hold it." He lifted the same glass of water one last time. Learn when to put it down. Learn to pause, breathe, and let your heart rest. That is how you overcome stress. He set the glass down, and with that simple act, the lesson was complete. Stress is not your enemy. It is a reminder, a signal that you are carrying something too long. So when life feels too heavy, pause. Take a breath and put the glass down. That is how you overcome stress. Thank you for watching Wisdom Tales. Here, every story teaches you not just wisdom for life, but also helps you learn and practice English in a simple, natural way. Subscribe today and join us every week for powerful stories that make your life better and your English stronger.